You're listening to Hawaii Matters, and I'm your host, Kathy with a K. Our guests today are from Habilitat, Donovan Noble, Public Relations Representative, and Chad Greenbaum, Induction Representative. And also in support, Jason Parrish is with us today. Let's start off and tell us where you are from and where you were raised up, and how you did come to Hawaii. Donovan Noble, we'll start with you.
Yes, hi. I'm actually born in the Philippines since I was 4 years old. Then I moved over to Kauai where my dad took care of me. He was in the military, so I was very well put off. And as I continued my life of growing and trying to learn the best I can, moved over to Oahu and made my own decisions. Still lived pretty well. And as things went on, I started thinking I was a grown man at that point. I wanted to continue to learn whatever I could. And I had my rough times going in and out, but then Habilitat was able to save my life, and which is where I'm currently at now.
Chad Greenbaum, you want to give a little bit of backstory about you?
So it all started off, my father and his mother, my grandmother, lived on the top of Peter Street. So when I was first born, my mother is from Kalihi Valley, my father's from St. Louis Heights, are actually originally from the mainland. So that's where I lived in the beginning of my life, all the way until about 6 years old. Moved to Kalihi Valley, bounced then to the Big Island, from the Big Island until about 6th grade, and then moved to Oahu as a boarder at Kamehameha Schools from 7th grade, and just basically stayed on Oahu the entire time. I've lived in different places. I lived in the mainland. I'm not international like Mr. Noble, but I've lived in the mainland in California for many years, and then I've been on Oahu mostly, though.
Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K. We're talking with Habilitat. I had seen on social media, the Facebook page, about Habilitat when 30 days are not enough. Let's get a backstory about Habilitat for those who may not be familiar with the facility and the programs on the windward side of Oahu.
So Habilitat is, well, simply put, Habilitat's been around for over 53 years now. And generally what we do is to guide and empower individuals in making positive choices in their own lives. The way we do that is through the 2.5 years of vocational training plus the treatment program in itself, where we focus a lot on cognitive behavioral therapy, trying to figure out what people's problems are internally and honing on that and kind of showing people what their strengths are and the weaknesses, and learning to master their strengths and work on the weaknesses. And of course, we learn some life skills, workable skills. Yeah.
Habilitat is filled with staff and residents. How does someone become involved or enrolled or inducted into Habilitat? Chad Greenbaum, you want to take that?
Sure. Well, it's like this. The other day, we had a tour come on our facility from the YWCA. About 4 females came on, and they asked, how do you market? How do you get people to come to your program? And the truth is, it's by word of mouth, and it doesn't matter who wants them to come. An individual has to want to change and has to reach out to us first. We're not going to be pounding on doors or pounding the pavement saying, hey, come to our program, come to our program. It's really if we want to get you here. So it starts off with a screening process, a first call or a first letter from incarceration. Even judges that make the judgment if you're going to be able to come to a program or not will call us and be like, hey, can you work with this individual? And we'll say, hold on, it doesn't matter. If you want them to come here, they want to be here. So it takes some sincerity, right? We screen them wherever they're from, internationally, if they're from incarceration, which we get a lot of people from, all the different community correctional centers and state facilities. But it starts off with us just basically building a relationship, understanding if you're going to be integral with us, if you're going to answer questions honestly, and if you're just going to follow direction, simply. Habilitat is a program of compliance. Literally. So we come there, and there's a hierarchy to the whole thing, right? People have been there a lot longer than we have. Nobody there is through book learning. It's all through experience. So we need to take direction from individuals who've walked the same path. So we get them prepped for that, right? As they're going through that, we get some medical clearance, simple stuff like TB tests, if you're female, pregnancy tests, also physical, and any kind of medications they're on, right? After we get you medically cleared, we get you legally cleared if you have legal ties, and then get you ready to come. You know, so the program is intense in a lot of different ways. We are the most structured and rigorous program in the state and top tier in the nation. So with that, we need to prep people transparently to understand what they're getting themselves into, and not then be like, oh, okay, this is a little much. I didn't know what this is all about, you know. They don't really know the value in what we do until they've been there a little while. So we got to let them know before they get there to prepare them.
This is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K. We just heard from Chad Greenbaum of Habilitat. We're also here with Donovan Noble. Habilitat, for those who become part of the program, it's a 2.5-year investment of their lives. That's part of the. Do they know that up front? There's no like. I imagine maybe there are people who try to negotiate. It's like, can I be in there for 3 months? What about like a year? If I, kind of thing. Is it like up front? It's 2.5 years. It's like once you're in, there's no backseas, I guess, or there's no way to. I guess like to negotiate a different kind of
zero negotiations.
Yeah,
zero negotiations. That is the very first thing I say. You know, a lot of people, hey, I want to change my life. I heard you guys are successful, and that's the truth. We are. We're one of the most successful programs in the nation. You know, and it's been like that for a long time. Mm-hmm. So everybody sings a tune. You know, and then my job as I step in, me and the department I'm a part of, is to be 100% real with them and tell them, okay, this is what change is going to cost. You know, this is the investment, like you said, that you're going to have to provide for yourself every day. You know, 2.5 years, yes. All inpatient, yes. Residential the entire time, yes. Contact with the outside, no phones, no electronics. You know, being incorporated with a family in a family setting where you have to earn trust, where it's hard earned and easily lost, just like outside in the community, in society with families. And when you get to that point, you earn bits and bits and bits, you know? So we have to let people know from the very beginning what they're getting themselves into. 2.5 years is just the very first thing we tell them. You know, people say, so how long is your program? I'm like, 30 months, not 30 days, not 30 weeks. This is 30 months long, 2.5 years. And that's when you become eligible to graduate. You know, it differs sometimes. You know, some people graduate at 28 months because they're doing well and they're ready. Some people graduate at 36. You know, it depends on when the clinicians there, the clinical team, feel like you're completely ready to go outside.
Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K. Chad Greenbaum, Donovan Noble. We're talking about Habilitat, which was founded more than 50 years ago, as Donovan pointed out, by Mr. Vinny Marino. He began with 8 participants. And in 2024, a little over 100 residents. How has Mr. Marino's vision played out through the seasons and the years?
Quite simply, this is Donovan. Quite simple. His vision was to help the next person, kind of just guiding them and kind of teaching them the ways of how to live a good life, teaching them good things teaching them good things that are part of life, doing things that are positive, not having to run away from our own emotions, and seeing the things that we're able to accomplish as an individual is exactly what part of his vision was. But then his vision became even bigger by starting with 8 people to hundreds of people. And if you think about it, for at least 100 people per year in the past 50 years, that's a lot of people. So his vision grew, and it's still striving, and it's definitely making impacts within the world and the community as well. Like Chad said, this is the hardest program in the nation, but also the most successful.
Donovan Noble, we just heard from him. I'm Kathy with a K, Hawaii Matters with Habilitat. What is the goal when someone starts with Habilitat? I guess just like foundationally, Chad, you had said you kind of break down what to expect, but still the daily and weekly and monthly accruement of being on campus. I guess what are the initial steps?
Beginning is it's literally just pay attention. You know, pay attention. A big portion, you just asked, or Donovan asked her a question about his Vinny Marino's dream, you know, his vision. He was a hustler, you know, he was a straight up hustler from New York, you know, and he'd been through the same lifestyles that a lot of us, or all of us that come into the program, have lived before. So he wanted to put that same mindset behind it. So a big, quote unquote, read the play of what's happening outside when you're being aware of your surroundings. You're coming into a place where it's brand new. and we perpetuate family all day long. And people, when they get there, like, okay, hold on, I'm used to doing this by myself. Why are you helping me so much? Is this real? Do you want something from me? I know that's how I felt. So we want people to get comfortable in just understanding how to be, and pay attention to what's happening around you. Things are going on. Ask questions of how to do things, not why we do things, or how do you get to a point where you can feel so comfortable in yourself? We want people to just get acclimated and orientated to the small things we have there. There's only 5 basic rules, right? But there's guidelines and expectation to every resident that's there. And we want individuals when they first get there just to understand, to take direction. We're not going to ever tell somebody in the program to do something just to do it. Mm-hmm. It's more like, hey, you know what, this has worked for us before, and this is what we've done, and we're willing to do it again, but this is what you need to do for a first step. As they start taking those steps, they start earning some responsibility, some actual comfortability in their own skin, some independence a little bit, and then we grow from there.
What has your, I guess, we were talking about going through the program. Chad and Donovan, you have each been through the program, and so are working at Habilitat and being leaders in that sense of different departments within Habilitat. What have you noticed in yourselves that has made such a difference for you to not only stick with the program, but to stay on to help others acclimate and become different versions of themselves through Habilitat?
This is Donovan. That's a great question. One of the biggest things I've noticed that I've changed since being in Habilitat is, honestly, I love myself now. I came to Habilitat not liking the person I was, not liking the person I was in my own skin. Habilitat has taught me to, I'm an okay person. Yes, I've made bad decisions, but I'm a good person. I have a good heart. And so learning to love myself as well as teaching others to love themselves is an amazing thing. And as well as learning to have self-respect, having some type of self-value, some responsibility, respectfulness to others. Just good qualities that are for anybody to have. Integrity, having these things, these qualities is honestly just exactly what I looked for in myself. I just didn't know how to get to it. Well, because of Habilitat, it has taught me how to find it as well as able to teach someone else.
This is Chad. For me, it's emotional intelligence. And what does that encompass? That encompasses me understanding my tics, what's going to make me frustrated in moments, what's going to make me actually care for someone. Why am I caring for somebody? In my happy moments, is it going to be fleeting? How do I get to there? And understanding what makes me, Chad, up. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I know there's a lot of outside things that I know for myself. When I was wearing a mask, trying to be somebody different, that was what I didn't want to do. And I get to understand that I can just be me, and it's okay to be me. So independence, right? Independence in wherever I go, however I present my plate, right, of myself to somebody else. If they like it or not, it's okay. I can take that back and thank you very much. I can move on. So just to be comfortable in my own skin, no matter what's going on. I always have been a leader, I want to say, in a way where I've done things and people followed even though I didn't ask. When I speak, it can provide some kind of presence for the good or bad. I learned how to do it for the right things nowadays. I learned how to motivate and inspire for the right reasons and something I'm passionate about. And on a day-to-day basis, it's hard not to. Everybody loves a comeback story. Everybody loves seeing somebody go from the bottom up. And we get to see that every single day through other people. And it makes me just proud of what we're doing, and proud of being a part of something a lot bigger than myself, man. So that's what I got out of it, or I get out of it every day.
Chad Greenbaum and Donovan Noble of Habilitat. I'm Kathy with a K, and we are talking with Habilitat for Hawaii Matters. Let's just go back a little bit. COVID-19 impacted a lot of different organizations, businesses, school campuses, and that was from March 2020 till May 2023. Did COVID-19 impact Habilitat as far as bringing people in, fundraising, just maybe even the temperament for those who were residents at Habilitat?
This is Donovan. So yeah, it did definitely affect us, but we're innovators. We've innovated into how we can work around the pandemic, becoming like our biggest fundraisers, Christmas trees. Instead of doing it in person, like we send tickets out and doing some what's it called? Like sometimes we'd go out to the schools and do some like fun activities with the kids. But instead, now we switched over to doing everything online, and people can purchase online. So we definitely adjusted and innovated into ways where we're able to work with the community, not having to contact them face to face in order to stay away from the COVID spreading and all that. But we've also followed up with a lot of CDC guidelines. So yes, the process of getting people into the program has slowed down during that time, but we're still able to help the next person coming into the program wanting to change their life. We did everything and anything that we could, whether it be hand sanitizer, mask, gloves, whatever the case is. We took the proper adjustments and made sure that we can still make it work for helping someone out.
This is Chad. So I mean, and everything Donovan said is exactly what happened and more. The truth is, it doesn't stop. People still need help, right? But it's also very serious. When it first happened, COVID became a thing. Batten down the hatches, right? Families are calling in and out. Oh my God, my daughter, my son, my anybody is there right now. What are you guys gonna do? And our executive director, Jeff Nash, took every precaution to make sure that everybody was safe there, from sanitization and for making sure that anybody going out or in, couldn't make any contact. The distance was all the same inside there. It did slow down a bit. There was a long quarantine process, about 2 weeks, but we have a basic 9 concepts over there. Nothing's constant, but change is one of them. So us being flexible to the world, basically. COVID hit, and we adjusted. And it took a little bit of time, but as anything ever gets thrown our way, we just adjusted to what it was. And there was a slower period, but we just had to put people in places to quarantine instead. So we adjusted where people are living, adjusted where people are eating, we adjusted our entire formulation or format of our day-to-day routine, and that just became our normal. And as we're coming out of it now, a lot of families couldn't come and visit. Nobody could come on or off the facility. And if you left the facility, you had to fully sanitize before in half an hour. Get down, sanitize your clothes, come up, and now you got a mask on, So anybody that wanted to have a visit couldn't happen for a couple of years, but now we're adjusting back into that. People get to come. We get to take time to go off the facility when you're in the later phases of the program. So it's been you get better through the hard times, right? And that's what happened.
Thanks for having us hear your stories. I'm Kathy with a K with Hawaii Matters, talking with Habilitat. We just heard from Chad Greenbaum and Donovan Noble, talking about the success stories. Speaking to each of you, you guys are successes within Habilitat. What is the success rate, if there's such a thing, as far as coming through Habilitat? Is it them enrolling into the program or returning to the program? How do you mark that? Well,
at the end of the day, 100% of our graduates are going to be gainfully employed, taking care of all their legal responsibilities, upkept with that, and also have stable housing. So at the end of the day, transportation, some people have restitution they have to take care of, so they're well working on that, or they have transportation to get to and from their jobs. Now, we have a 6-month probationary period, so you can't get your clinical discharge until you've completed these 6 months of checking in, coming back to the facility, still doing your job. If anything happens during that time, you let the facility director and the executive director know what's going on. So that is all tested and monitored through our facility. They come back, drug tests, right? You come back, anything happens, drug tests. So as we're looking at them for that 6 months, when they get their clinical discharge, we want them to stay in contact with us as best as possible, right? So we have about a 2-year span of us staying in contact for our data of what goes on. And I can't want to lie to you and give you the exact percentage, but I know throughout the nation in the last 20, 25 years, we are one of the top, So it does take a lot to get through it. There is a high recidivism rate that happens because people like to give up on themselves. We will not give up on you, but you'll give up on yourself before we do. And so in the long run, pretty successful.
That made me feel kind of emotional when you said about people giving up on themselves, because even air quotes, like in the outside world, outside of Habilitat, people go through those moments where they just don't want to invest in themselves, or whatever the buzzwords are about, like they just discontinue wanting to move forward to better themselves. So I'm just glad that Habilitat is here for those who are part of the program, for the families and organizations that you're, I like to say, you have to trust fall into yourself. But until you're able to do that, it's like, I'm glad that Habilitat provides that for people with Habilitat.
Yes.
So I'm glad. This is Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K, and we're talking with a few folks from Habilitat. We just heard from Chad Greenbaum, Donovan Noble. We also have Jason Parrish in the studio. Habilitat, because there's different levels of residents coming through, like you were saying, there's a graduation. Talk about the transitional housing, how that helps those with Habilitat.
Well, it just kind of came about. It was just an idea, actually during COVID, that kind of came about of thinking, how can we better people's chances, and not just, of course, before you leave, like I said, you need to be gainfully employed, and you need to have a stable living environment before you can actually move off the facility, even if you graduated, right? So they made that a transitional home when it popped up, just so people could all be around Habilitat residents still, Of course, you want to be able to put you out there and you become independent, go into an apartment or find a roommate around the area you're working at. But that just gave a better stability or chance of stability for individuals, so that they can go and have conversations with individuals who know exactly what you've been through. And the choice of it kind of came about. I think we have 2 houses now, one in Aiea and one in Kaneohe. They can hold about 12 to 16 people each, male or female, and there's rules and guidelines to that too, right? But the 6-month probationary period happens in there, and then you move out after that. But it's helped. Once again, I don't want to give you exact statistics how much it's helped in that, but it's helped people just stay comfortable with becoming independent again in society.
Mm-hmm. It's funny thing about numbers. People want like hard facts and statistics, and it's ultimately you have to be the example. You're constantly just have to show up and just do the work and just be like we're the success. You guys are the success story. So thanks for coming out again. Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K. We're talking with Habilitat. We just heard from Chad Greenbaum, Donovan. Habilitat, self-sustaining, a 501c3 nonprofit. It includes, like how you mentioned earlier, the popular Christmas tree sales. I know that Habilitat is in the community with other kind of fundraising. You say, going to schools. Since you were returning back to in real life appearances, so to speak, what other ways is Habilitat in the community? I know there's a 45 block party that's upcoming, but there's also like cleanups and things like that. Can you talk a little bit more about how Habilitat is continually helping in the islands?
Yeah, there's almost an endless list. Honestly, we have the Christmas tree fundraiser that we do every single year, largest fundraiser that we have. We've worked with about 80 plus schools, public and private, and sports organizations last year alone. And in the past 10 years alone, we've raised $1 million for these organizations as well. Like I said, it's the biggest one. We also have our haunted house drive-through that we've had past couple years at Aloha Stadium. Huge hit. If you guys don't know about it, check it out, oahuhauntedhouse.com. Anyways, so those are 2 of our events. We've also gotten some of our online auctions. We're going to be coming up on a new online auction in a couple months or so. We've already gone live with our Granger auction, where we got a huge donation from Granger alone, just helping support us to have us raise some funds for our organization to raise, kind of just help us with all the pays that we have to do. And then again, we also reach out to some CEOs, corporate sponsorships through that as well. And some other things that we do within the community alone is a lot of volunteer work, kind of just beach cleanups, Diamond Head cleanup, and before I forget, we have actually gone over to the Honolulu Zoo and helped clean up over there. And they actually, after we clean up, they kind of let us go walk around a little bit and see all the animals. So super fun. Shout out to Honolulu Zoo. Thank you guys. And what are some other things like,
Fish pond, highways.
Oh yeah, fish ponds, adopt a highway, adopt a beach. Like I said, the list is pretty endless. We're always trying to innovate into new ways of helping out the community as well.
Do you have a favorite project that you, when you hear it comes up on the calendar, you're like, oh, I'm available?
Actually, so in the position that I'm at, I'm pretty much making myself available for every event that goes on, but whether it be setting up the open house, setting up. No, actually, don't. Those are like one thing I don't volunteer for all the time, and that will always be for doing the background work for the auctions. Not my favorite, but I will do it. I will definitely help and assist someone. But I do love spearheading a lot of the projects and helping to learn it as well if I don't know it.
Is there Habilitat.com for more details? Who do people reach out to if they want to partner up with Habilitat?
Partnering up with Habilitat, so you can definitely call 808-235-3691 and ask to speak to Donovan Noble or even Jason Parrish. There are going to be a lot of enterprise representatives. Depending on what type of partnerships you guys are looking for, it's kind of just depends, right? We do, for our sales and marketing, we do a lot of partnerships with community giving back, to volunteer work, to sponsorships, to donations, doing things on the radio, news. A lot of it does deal with us, but it all depends.
We heard from Donovan Noble. We have Chad Greenbaum, Jason Parrish here. Habilitat.com for more details. I'm Kathy with a K with Hawaii Matters, and we are talking with Habilitat. We covered a lot of ground, and what is it, I guess if you have any personal stories that you want to share that that you keep in your back pocket about being affiliated with Habilitat or maybe going through the program, where if you ever kind of wobble in your own purpose in your current life stream, that you're just like Donovan, you said, you learn to love yourself, and that's like so key. Some people older than us, just never figure out that that's kind of like a bingo square that they need. But how about for you, Chad? Is there anything that you kind of lean into about your experiences with Habilitat?
Well, like I said, I love being in the community a lot. A big portion of what I lean on to that has some substance for me is the opportunity. Not recently due to COVID and stuff like that. I had an opportunity to go to different high schools and also elementary schools to talk to a bunch of kids, a bunch of actually moms and dads and people looking actually for an opportunity to provide some kind of information for somebody who has any kind of addiction or behavior modification they need, right? That, when seeing it on the street, what's happening, I place myself in those positions, where I was at. I mean, I didn't, even though my family may have at times been successful, I've always lived pretty menial, so to see myself in their eyes, to see myself in what they're living through and going through, I'm not saying I'm any different. Everybody can match up with whatever it is that happened in their life, whatever pain or whatever suffering they may have, trauma they went through. But I can see that people need change. So if I can be a catalyst to fill any kind of negative hole that we got going on, especially in Hawaii, I'd like to be a spirit for that, whatever it is. Talking about things that Habilitat does, Lahaina happened, right? Huge. It's all over. It's on 60 Minutes. That everybody's formulating some kind of plan to help them out, right? We heed the message. We heard the call, and without even being asked, that's what Habilitat does. They see it in the paper. We have people from Maui there, right? A bunch of people looking at it, crying, saying, "Oh, wow, look at this," And the very first thing one of our staff members did was say, "Get everything we got. Load up the trucks, let's get it on. We have 100 residents right now. What can we do?" And what we could do is go down to the state capitol and provide help, whatever assistance we can, and food. Food for the people that are there helping, you know what I'm saying? So whatever Habilitat can do as a family, we do. I get to be a part of that, While I've been there, my fiance gave birth, and I just see my 5-month-old baby girl, beautiful baby Aiko. And when I know what I can do for her now, then what I could do for her years ago, it's ridiculous, The father that I know I can be nowadays, that keeps me tapped in. They've given me that. Habilitat gave me the substance and the confidence, to be not a criminal or a gangster or whatever it was that society painted myself or wanted to be. I get to be a dad. I get to be a friend. Somebody I can actually be like, call me and I got you. Not for anything negative, but I'll be there for you. my word is good. So that's what I lean on a lot.
You good? Thanks again. We just heard from Chad Greenbaum. Want to thank Donovan Noble, Jason Parrish. Hawaii Matters. To replay and share this episode. Actually, wait. Because I get to edit it.
Yeah.
You can edit that.
No
Is there anything that I might not have touched upon that maybe you want to mention? Is there anything?
There is
Zoo.
It was 200 last time. I think it said 200.
I thought it was 200 last time. This is Donovan, and there's just one more thing I want to mention. We're actually just started a new program at the very end of last year. We started. It's called Keys to Recovery.
There you go. Nice.
So we are taking in any car that you guys want to donate, whether it's damaged, broken, not working, whatever the case is. Please give us a call. We can definitely help you with that. You guys can donate it to us. We'll definitely help out another organization.
And that's Habilitat.com for more details. We just heard from Donovan Noble. Okay, I'm going to pick that, because I'm going to pick that up and put that. Thanks again for having us with you this morning. Or I shouldn't say this morning. See, this is why I'm editing. Okay. Because even though it first airs on Sundays at 6:30, the thinking is, it's going to reshare. So any time of the day, night or day. So keeping it generic, keeping it evergreen. This is Kathy with a K with Hawaii Matters. Thanks again to Habilitat, to Chad Greenbaum, Donovan Noble, Jason Parrish. For details about Habilitat, please find them online at habilitat.com. And to replay and share this episode, look for Hawaii Matters on most major podcast platforms. I'm Kathy with a K. On behalf of everyone at Pacific Media Group, thanks for listening to Hawaii Matters.